Let me check something really quick. I mean, this guy had 3 ethers on him after I beat Phantom. Give me that, Peter. Screw you. I'm never gonna come back to Neverland again. You're a hoarder. Hey guys, Mistmaster1 here, and welcome back to more Kingdom Hearts Final Mix HD Proud Level 1. In the last episode, we finished up everything officially now in Neverland by defeating the Super Boss, Phantom, at the Clock Tower. We also got ourselves pretty much every weapon in the entire game except for the one... There's actually the 2 weapons we haven't picked up yet, and one of which is not possible to pick up. They're both at Olympus Coliseum, but that is for next episode. Instead, in this episode, we're going to continue our train of Super Bosses by heading to Agrabah. No, I have not changed my ship. I still have Cactuar, because Cactuar is the best. But yeah, now we're gonna roll up here on Agrabah really quick, and the place we are going to dock at is Aladdin's house. Alrighty, now here's how this is gonna go down. You'll notice, like, this is after the point, if I haven't made a mention of this yet, all of these super bosses, or pretty much all of them, are available after the events of Hollow Bastion 1 and you've rescued Kairi and stuff like that. And if you've come to Agrabah, like, any time after that, and you come to Aladdin's house, you'll see the carpet's kind of having a hissy fit over here, just, like, waving around and all that other stuff. You talk to it, what's the matter, you want to go somewhere? Let's leave him alone for now. You can probably guess where this is leading. This is, in fact, going to lead to our next super boss. But a few things to do before we actually move on with this. First of all, Donald is gonna say goodbye once again because Aladdin has 6 item slots and we're gonna want that. And we're gonna pretty much load ourselves up just like we did with the Phantom fight. Because Peter was nice enough to hold on to those ethers for me, I can give all of the ethers to Aladdin and then I have just enough to fill up all of his item slots like so. So now we have 10 ethers across the party and 3 elixirs for Sora in case things get wacky. If this fight goes very well, I won't have to use a single elixir. I've also only changed my customization so that... Actually, you know what? Why not? Let's put Aroga on this. It can't really hurt. Aroga, Thundaga, Kiraga is a good sort of customization for Sora. Goofy is still the exact same, only have his MP items immediately and everything else is set to pretty much non-existent. And we're going to set Aladdin's AI to exactly that, where we put his irregular attacks, special attacks, and HP items on the back end and have his MP items used up front almost immediately. That's going to be very key for this fight, just like it was for the Phantom fight in the last episode. And also, at long last, I have finally given the promise, and I'm going to be using this Keyblade right here, Ultimate Weapon, for the remainder of the game. Sorry about that, I had to have a sniffle there. I'm a little congested at the time of recording this, because every time I wake up, I'm a little congested in the morning, and I really need to get these videos recorded in the morning so I can edit them during the day and then post them during the evening. You get the idea. But now that all of that is said and done, we've pretty much gone over every single thing I want to cover before we move on. We're gonna talk to this guy. You want to go somewhere? Let's ride on the carpet. We're gonna have our next super boss coming up in just a few seconds here. Having a nice ride on the carpet through the desert when all of a sudden, oh my goodness, what is that thing? Say hello to our next super boss. This is Zisa, and he's not going to let us run away because he's going to put these little barriers right up there. And now we are forced to fight this guy. Now, really quickly, I'm going to pause the game really quick because this is important. Before this fight even starts, it is extremely important you summon Tinkerbell right from the beginning. I know that seems strange, and I'm pausing the game to explain that, but just listen to me. Summon Tinkerbell immediately because you'll notice there's a couple little weird orbs and stuff around us, like a little diamond shape and a little spear shape and stuff like that surround the party. Well, that's because Zisa at the very start of the fight initiates another unique spell. You know how Phantom had his Doom spell? Well, this guy has another unique little thing, and it is the Silence spell. And if you aren't sure what Silence does in the Final Fantasy games, well... oh, that's a little scary actually, he's jumping right towards us. But our magic is completely deadlocked, and we don't have any way to heal ourselves aside from healing items. So by having Tinkerbell out, we basically have a regen spell cast across the entire party, and if things get really messy, we have auto life on top of that. To deal with this first phase, he'll have 2 of these orbs in his hands, 1 in each. Actually, well, he has 6 hands, I guess, but he'll have 2 hands that are free, 2 hands that have those blades that he spins around like so, and then 2 hands that have the orbs, which allow him to cast the silence spell on the party. And while those are active, you are not allowed to heal yourself, not use any offensive magic. But they don't take too much damage. As you can see, I already got rid of the first one right there. He is pretty aggressive, but don't worry about that, just play safe. And once you defeat each orb, they will drop HP orbs, like so. Just be careful to play defensively, because if Tinkerbell runs out and you run out of HP the first time, you don't have any way to heal yourself, basically. So you're kind of wanting to restrict yourself from being super aggressive, so Tinkerbell can remain for pretty much the entire fight. Now once you've gotten to this phase, you have gotten rid of the 2 orbs that cast silence on the party. What you can do is pretty much just chip away at the main source of damage, which is the head that comes out of his body right here. For a little bit extra damage, you can cast Aroga off and have the chance to parry, so let's cast Aroga, and let's start chipping away at this guy. And you're pretty much going to repeat this pattern for the entirety of the fight. Those are the 3 main phases. You'll have a phase where you can't use magic, you'll have a phase where you can actually deal damage to him. Whenever he tries to launch out like that, you can get yourself an attack off by, you know, parrying it. Like so, he like flings his head around, but Aroga will auto-parry that for you, so that's pretty nice. And then once you've dealt enough damage during that phase, he will enter this little phase right here where he gets up from the ground. He's going to encase himself in a little orb where he's basically impervious to all physical attacks and you must use magic, so it's kind of like the opposite of the first phase. Let's heal Goofy really quick, because this is where the whole stocking up for ethers is really going to pay off. You can pretty much use any type of magic you want on this thing, and if you do run out of MP, you can physically attack him and he will drop MP orbs, but you really don't want to have to come to those desperate measures, because then you're really doing really poorly. But essentially, the easiest way to deal with this thing, make sure all your party is loaded with MP items, and we're just going to spam Thundaga over and over again until the shield eventually breaks. In the meantime, he will try to summon like little fire orbs and like little sandstorms and stuff like this. Like you see, he's kind of summoning stuff right now. He's going to summon these are little fire orbs that explode after a few seconds of spawning in, so you got to be careful about that. Thankfully, with your party members available to you, you can actually get off magic really quickly and avoid that phase in great detail. Ow, wow, he actually socked me right there. That was pretty crappy. And that's pretty much all you have to do. He does have a couple more attacks, which we will be getting into shortly, but those are the 3 main phases that he pretty much shifts through. Now right here, the fight's going to loop over again with those 3 phases that I've already talked about. One where he'll silence you, so no magic. One where he'll be available like that to take damage like we just did. And then another phase where he will, you know, basically be in his little orb and you have to use magic, and then he'll fall down again and you repeat the second phase. So that's basically the 4 stages of how this fight goes. But of course, as you deplete his HP, he's going to get more aggressive and he does different things. I'm going to cast Aroga again since our magic's about to get turned off, and now we're going to start chipping away at the little energy orbs once again. Although you really need to be careful now, because once you've entered this phase and you've dealt reasonable damage to him, he will start to do another attack. It might be right here, let's see. No, he's just going to charge again. Just be really careful when he does charge, and then go in for attacks when you can. Is he going to do it right here? No, okay. I'm really antsy about his next little move coming up, because it is one of the hardest moves in the entire game to dodge, because his little desperation move lasts a good, you know... Okay, here it is. You'll see he starts to do like a little, like... I don't know how to describe, but he'll sort of bend like that way kind of to the side, and he's actually charging up for his little desperation move here, and he's going to go in the air and spin at ridiculous speeds and try to track you down while switching from horizontal to vertical positions while doing so. Let's get up really close so we can duck under him, and then for pretty much this, do a dodge roll right before he gets there. If he's horizontal, you jump over like so. And you just basically want to keep that in mind when you're dodging that attack. It's not so bad initially because you've only just entered the phase where he'll actually start using it. So he'll only do it like 4 or 5 times, but when you get to later phases, he can do that literally like 10 times in a row before he stops, and it can be very irritating to actually dodge it. Is he going to do it again? No? Okay. Let's get rid of you. This orb should be almost finished by now. You also have a small chance of getting an item drop when you defeat the Yards, but that's not necessary. You can either range from a Mega Elixir to Elixir. Let's chip away at this guy even more. Let's cast Aroga off so we can parry this little thing right here. Or not, that's fine, I guess, whatever. Okay. Let me heal Goofy again so we can have some more ethers going our way. Now let's do some more magic spam all this time. Thank you, Aladdin, for the ethers. Is Goofy out of ethers? I think Goofy's out of ethers. Well, that's okay, because Aladdin's got my back with all the magic spam along my way. Thank you for that. And now that we've discussed every single thing about this guy, I'm gonna give you a little tidbit of trivia. In the original Japanese version of this game, this guy was not a super boss. I kind of went over this in the last episode when we fought Phantom. Phantom was the only boss in the original Japanese version of this game on the PS2. Well, when this game was being localized in America and the US version came out, Square actually, like Squaresoft at the time, Square Enix now, held a contest for, what's it called? Potential super boss name that they were going to, you know, basically put into the game, and they had a little contest to see, you know, submit your name and see if your name is cool enough to be added to the boss. And as it so be it, there's this guy called Zisa. I don't know who he is, or, you know, the guy who actually is named after it, but shoutouts to you, my man, because he got himself named after, well, the boss got himself named after that guy, so he is actually in this game as a super boss in terms of a name. So that's a little interesting little thing. Now let's actually go on with the fight. I thought I would just throw that in there. Oh god, okay. Now he's gonna do this again, jump over. He'll probably do this a lot more because we've done more damage. Let's dodge roll to the side, jump over this. You basically have to pay really close attention to what he's doing at all times, and it's really just a game of not being super aggressive and try to dodge his little desperation move at all times so Tinkerbell doesn't run out, because you'll run out of health very quickly in this fight if you get overwhelmed, so you kind of have to play really well in terms of just not dodging and stuff like that. There's also another thing you can do in this fight to actually completely... I just stood there like an idiot. You can completely ruin this fight for Kurt by doing a very particular strategy. I am not doing that because I want to fight this guy the legitimate way, and I will show you guys the really cheap way after the fact. Okay, he's going to do this again. Yeah, this is probably the attack that screws over a lot of people because it's very hard to dodge. Whenever I do those little dodge rolls from the vertical slash that he does over my character right there, over Sora, it is actually a very tight timing window, and if you don't time it properly and you're not at a proper angle, you will just get wrecked. I don't really know what else to say. But now, we should be pretty close to killing this guy. This orb should only have a few more hits to go, there we go. And if we've done well, this guy only has a few more hits that we need to deal with him, like we might actually be able to kill him during this little phase right here. Yeah, there we go, there is Kurt Zisa. Not too bad of a fight, but it does require a lot of practice for it to go well. In his last bit of strength, he tries to crush us underneath his body, but thankfully the carpet's got our back and we get out of there just in time. And there we go, Kurt Zisa is finished. And for defeating Kurt Zisa, we get ourselves the Zantetsuken ability as well as Ansem's Report 11. How about that? We're almost done collecting all those Ansem reports. There's only 13 of them in the entire game, and if we check our journal, which, by the way, we filled out everything besides characters and the Ansem report now at this point. So basically, once we finish all the super bosses in the game, we'll pretty much finish the journal, because the remaining Ansem reports come from the super bosses we still haven't fought, and the characters are also the super bosses we haven't fought. So it's kind of killing two birds with one stone. By the end of episode 57, we'll have a complete journal. But anyway, that little Zantetsuken ability that we picked up... Oh, actually, no, before we get into that, just one little tidbit. There are a total of 13 Ansem reports, go figure, and we have 11 right now. After we defeat the next two super bosses, we'll have a full complete collection, and I will be going over Ansem's report in another video after the fact. Now, Zantetsuken has a 30% chance of unleashing a finishing combo attack that can destroy a weaker enemy. This attack is actually pretty reasonable, and when it says destroys a weaker enemy, it is not kidding. This does not apply to boss-type enemies, although you can still get the finisher attack off. When you do a full ground combo on any enemy, and it doesn't matter what their HP is or whatever, while you're doing that attack, if it connects, it will destroy any regular enemy that is not a super, type boss or rare heartless in one specific hit, and that particular hit will in fact destroy the enemy just flat out. So it can actually be pretty useful, but as we only have really super bosses and the final boss to deal with, it's not going to be so useful, but just to throw that out there in case you're curious. So yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for me. This has been a bit of a shorter episode, but that's going to be the case because all we're showcasing really is the super bosses. And, I should have done is check to see if Aladdin has any more ethers, but we're not going to need any more ethers for the remainder of the game, so it's all set. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for me. I've been Mr. Master 1. Thank you for watching. This has been episode 55 of Kingdom Hearts Final Mix HD Proud Level 1. And in the next episode, we are going back here to Olympus Coliseum to take on the other super boss that I didn't take on when I fought Ice Titan back in episode 50. It's a super boss that a lot of people have been waiting for, and I know I've been waiting for it especially because this is probably the hardest fight in the entire game to do. Just in general. Well, you'll see what I mean. I'm going to dock here at the Coliseum gates, and we will in fact challenge it to a fight in the next episode. The guy doesn't need any introduction, and you probably know exactly who I'm talking about, even if you haven't played this game. So, once again, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode. I'll have a quick little clip to show you the really cheap strat on current Zisa, but other than that, I'm going to sign off for now. Have a good day.
Gotcha!